My presentation is on colorism in Hispanic culture. Hispanics come in many different colors, so why do we prefer lighter complexions over darker? Definition. By definition, colorism refers to discrimination based off skin tone, usually referring or favoring lighter skin over darker skin within the same racial and ethnic group. And um, in Hispanic and Latin communities, Latin American communities, colorism has deep historical roots stemming from colonial caste systems. And with the significance of colorism in Hispanic communities, it's really important because it affects social mobility, identity, and access to opportunities. So, in Latin America, consistently higher educational, lighter skinned individuals have higher educational and higher paying jobs, um, and they experience less discrimination compared to their darker skinned counterparts. This shows how colorism reinforces inequality and even among people who share the same ethnicity. So some terms include, forgive me, pigmentocracy, uh, a social hierarchy organized around skin color with lighter skinned individuals receiving more privilege. Then we also have our racial stratification and internalized racism. So my research question is how colorism functions within Hispanic communities and how it impacts social and economic cultural life. I want to learn how skin tone influences people's chances, identity, and access to various opportunities, and I want to know where it also originates from. So, actually, where it originates from is the colonial caste systems. I'm not sure if I mentioned before. And it just gets passed down from generation to generation, different beliefs, and it's just a cycle that repeats ongoingly. The modern impact is that majority of Latinos say that their skin color affects their daily life and opportunity in the U.S. There's a lot of stereotypes within the about the Hispanic community that they are hard workers, yes, but they typically do the undesirable jobs like cleaner or gardeners. And skin tone strongly predicts inequality across Latin America. Like I was mentioning, there's the skin color biases that emerge and the stereotype formation. So in media representations as well, a lot of novelas they have uh, they mis they overrepresent lighter skinned characters, and sometimes they don't have a darker skinned character as representation, or they do and they're heavily stereotyped. Color based discrimination affects a Hispanic person's mental and stuff like that because it can make them feel very inferior and that they need to change themselves to be that beauty standard. And the theory that goes along with this the most that I saw was conflict theory because social life is shaped by competition for power and status and resources. Lighter skinned groups benefit from historical advantages and maintain dominance through institutions. This conflict theory explains how colorism as a power struggle in which lighter skinned groups maintain social and economic advantages over dark skinned groups. This perspective supports the literature by explaining how institutions and cultural norms reproduce these inequalities across generations. Like I was mentioning, that cycle continuing. So my hypothesis for my research is that it will likely find that lighter skinned Hispanics receive greater educational and economic and social advantages than darker skinned or Afro Latino individuals. So, with the media representations, like I was mentioning before, and the institutional practices and internalized biases, they're expected to reinforce these inequalities affecting identity, opportunity, and well being for these people of a darker skin tone. So, population and sample. The target population will obviously be Hispanic Latino individuals of diverse national backgrounds. And my group that I've decided to, my sample group will be Latinos from my school or members from my own family. These sample groups will include a range of skin tones, genders, generational statuses, and what is it? U.S. citizenship status. So my methodology will be participant observation for my family. So this method will help me identify real-world examples of color-based treatment, representation, and social hierarchy. And the survey will be for my peers, and this will identify patterns and compare experiences based off skin tone, gender, and background. So this is some of the information that I got from my surveys. It consisted of 12 participants, 3 age 16, 7 age 17, 1 age 18, and 1 age 19. And in my pool of participants, 8 were female and 5 were males, with cultural background of 4 Mexican, 2 Salvadorian, 2 Puerto Ricans, and 4 identifying as other Latino origins. And I had no responses for dark-skinned. And I noticed that there's not that many students at my school that are dark-skinned, Latino or Hispanic. Generational status, 2 responded immigrant, 6 responded first generation, 4 responded second generation, and 1 responded third generation or more. The majority responded that sometimes they feel judged or treated differently because of their skin tone, and this really surprised me. About 92% agreed that yes, they have heard negative comments about darker skin tones in their community. More information, I asked, how often do you see lighter skinned people represented more positively in Hispanic media, TV, novelas, etc.? And a majority voted that they usually see lighter skinned individuals represented more positively. Then this surprised me actually, just based off my own personal resolve, that that only 46 people believed or have felt the pressure to look white in quotations, and 53% said they have never felt that. Then my last question was, how strongly do you agree with the statement lighter skin provides better opportunities in society? And people answered more on the higher side of the spectrum, that they strongly agree or somewhat agree. So my hypothesis was correct and was supported by that. Most of the participants reported feeling judged or treated differently because of their skin tone. 92 have heard a negative comment about darker skin tones. And additionally, over half agreed that lighter skin provides better opportunities, and nearly half have felt that pressure to appear whiter. And in my participation observation, it was during my Thanksgiving dinner, and I heard a little comments throughout the night, and it really showed me how normalized colorism can be especially even in my own family. So my aunt had joked that one of my cousins was the pretty one because she was lighter, and somebody else teased my younger cousin for getting too dark while playing soccer. And then later they were talking about novelas, and a few of my relatives joked about how the lighter actors always get the main roles. And it really made me realize how color-based comments like these are just casually dropped in everyday conversations. Limitations. There was a few limitations in my research. The survey may have included self-report bias, meaning that the participants may have not answered truthfully. And then also on the participant observation, it only reflects one Hispanic family. So it may not represent the broader Hispanic community as a whole, but and also not to mention, this is my personal interpretation during the observation, so that could introduce bias. If given the chance, it would be better if it was on a larger scale. A more varied sample and multiple observations across different families would give a more complete picture of colorism. Ethics. To ensure that the study was conducted ethically, participants of the survey were kept anonymous and all the responses were voluntary. And during the participant observation, I respected my family's privacy by not name dropping them or sharing any insensitive information. Future research. It could reveal how colorism impacts self-esteem, opportunities, or family dynamics, and even how the media representation of certain skin tones reinforce these ideas. I really appreciated Encanto from Disney for this example. This was a family that showed that there's a range of different skin tones that go into a Hispanic family. And then by understanding these patterns, it could help Hispanic/Latino communities and their families find ways to challenge these color-based biases and promote more awareness and equality. In conclusion, colorism is still present in every day, even in casual family settings. And both survey and participants' observations show that lighter skin is often favored, while darker skin can be teased or overlooked. This research highlights how subtle biases shape experiences, media representation, and family interactions. And by raising awareness, we can and having open conversations, we can help challenge these color-based stereotypes and promote more equality in Hispanic communities. Thank you for listening.